Hi guys, Josh here, and this is my review of Pixel Cross Rune Factory, now available for Nintendo Switch and Steam. Almost exactly a year ago, we got Pixel Cross Story of Seasons, and this is mostly the same thing, a game where you complete logic puzzles called nonograms, but there is a Rune Factory theme with characters, monsters, and music from the farming RPG franchise. The publisher, Rainy Frog, sent me a key for the Switch version. I've been playing it for a little bit more than a week now. It's very addictive, but there are some problems, so I will go over all of my thoughts, and hopefully it should help you decide if it's a game for you or not. If it helps, leave a like on the video, that helps me back, and let's begin. I know not everybody is familiar with these puzzles, I was not until last year, so let's quickly go over what are nonograms. You have a grid, and you need to fill the correct squares in order to complete a picture, which in this case is going to be something from the Rune Factory series. Each line has numbers, so for example here there's a 1 and a 3, which means there's going to be two sequences of connected squares, one with 1 square, followed by another one with 3 squares, and there needs to be at least one empty space between them. As you fill up those squares, you can slowly determine some of the more difficult lines, and you keep going until the picture is complete. The example here is pretty simple because the grid is only 5 squares wide, but you will get bigger puzzles as you progress. And if anything that I'm saying sounds confusing, don't worry, the game does a good job at explaining the rules and easing you into it. Now let's get into the specifics of this Pixel Cross Rune Factory. You first create a profile, you can have up to 3, and you choose between Ares and Alice, the protagonists from Rune Factory 5. Then you pick either the adventure mode or the puzzle mode. Puzzle mode is similar to how it worked in Pixel Cross Story of Seasons, where you have access to all of the puzzles right away, and you can do them in any order you'd like. On the other hand, adventure mode is new. Here you unlock puzzles as you play, and some of them, like the monster and boss battles, which are collages made of multiple puzzles, have to be cleared in challenge mode. So Pixel Cross has tons of settings to adjust the difficulty. You can have a free line completed for you at the beginning of a puzzle, hints showing you which lines you can work on. You can turn the timer and autocorrect on or off. Lots of very useful ways to personalize your experience. But in challenge mode, most of these assist features are turned off. There is a 1-hour timer, and whenever you make a mistake, you lose some of that precious time. This is a fun addition, and if you want, you can do any of the puzzles in challenge mode. Challenge or not, during some puzzles, you will see your character either fighting, cooking, fishing. Otherwise, it's just Rick Barth from Rune Factory 5 in the background. And there are a few fun details, like before doing any of the fishing puzzles, you first need to have completed the fishing rod puzzle. I thought that was a nice touch, but in the end, the game sticks to the classic rules of nonograms. There is this other game called PictoQuest that has some battle mechanics, items, and gimmicks that add a fun RPG touch to the puzzles. I was hoping for something like that in Pixel Cross Rune Factory. I would have loved to see maybe a bit of a story, a little world map to walk from one puzzle to the next, special things to make it stand out from other similar games. But that is not the case, which feels like a missed opportunity. One welcome addition that is not new to nonograms, but is new to me as it was not in the Story of Seasons game last year, is the color puzzles. Each puzzle can be completed either the classic way or in color mode. At first, I thought it was going to be the exact same principle, just with colors. However, solving these puzzles is a little bit different. First, you have more information as each number is associated with a color. So, for example, if there's a green number and only a few rows have green, right away you have a good idea of where your green squares are going to be. Another difference is series of different colors don't need to have empty spaces between them, which adds another layer to the way you calculate things. It changes things up, you're never forced to do it one way or the other, it's up to you. And it basically doubles the 300 puzzles the game has to offer, or 450 if you count all parts of the 20 collages. This means that in total you could do 900 puzzles without having to do the same thing twice. The last thing I would like to touch on in regards to the puzzle portion of the game is the controls. There are touch controls which were not in the previous game, so you can hold and drag with your finger, then press up and down with the stick to draw squares or X's. Personally, I much prefer playing with the buttons, especially as individual squares can be small on larger puzzles, but the option is there. There are also some accessibility settings available at all times, such as a left-handed option, shapes to help with color blindness, and a font for dyslexia. I have a few nitpicks with the controls, nothing that should be a deal breaker, but things I've noticed as I played. So you can hold ZR to measure squares, that's very useful, but when you press A, it fills up all of the squares from where you started counting. This could be seen as a good thing depending on how you play, but in the previous game it only filled up the square you were currently on, which was more convenient because at least for me, I rarely find myself wanting to fill up the entire thing I'm measuring. It didn't take me too long to get used to it, but I would like if there was a setting to have it the old way. I also wish there was a way to put temporary markers. In the previous game, we didn't have them, but I would put X's to keep track of where things could be as I was counting, and then I would remove them, but here if I play in challenge mode, which I do most of the time, I can't use X's as temporary markers because as soon as something is placed where it shouldn't, there's a time penalty. Overall, I find myself making more mistakes due to the controls more than because I can't solve a puzzle, which is a bit annoying. A bigger issue that I did not expect to have to bring up with a puzzle game like this is the performance. Yes, you heard that right, this game has performance issues. Especially during boss battles where there's more going on in the background, the game can feel sluggish with slow animations, a menu that feels heavy, and a grid where things just don't move as quick as they should be. You can really feel it, there's nothing even particularly fascinating to look at, and I would have much preferred to have assets from Rune Factory 3 or 4, instead of these large environments from 5 in the background if it meant a better performance. I went back and forth between the Rune Factory and Story of Seasons Pixel Cross games for this review, and hands down, the Story of Seasons game feels so much more quick and responsive. Outside of the puzzles, there is the Seed Outpost where you can see your stats, a compendium and bestiary with all of the characters and monsters you found, as well as a music player, but everything there is so slow. The menu, the little animations of the books closing and opening, everything feels so heavy for what it is. I would like to see a patch fixing these problems, but the Story of Seasons game has typos, little bugs and visual issues that are still not fixed a year later, so I won't be putting my hopes too high. I know that these Pixel Cross games are developed by mostly one person, James K from Score Studios. I'm sure resources are limited for these crossovers. I'm still happy to see these games existing, but I find the lack of polish a bit sad, and I hope a bit more could go into them in the future if we do get more. One improvement over the last game is the farm. Whereas with Story of Seasons, your farm would evolve automatically as you completed puzzles, here you unlock things the same way, but you get to customize the farm yourself. You can switch between the seed farm and different farm dragons, select individual crops for each tile in your field, have monsters and a spouse to hang out with you on this screen, as well as weapons for your character. When it comes to your spouse, in addition to finding their portraits, you will have to fulfill extra requirements, such as having specific crops in your field or completing certain puzzles, which makes unlocking them a bit more fun, but keep in mind that all of this is purely cosmetic. All of the spouses and monsters are from Rune Factory 5, so are the environment, the UI, and a good portion of the music. There is some music from 3 and 4, as well as characters from those games for the compendium, but I would have loved to see more of the series being represented, considering that even in Rune Factory 5, you can wear outfits from all of the previous games, and listen to music from all of these games. This is a bit disappointing for a game called Pixel Cross Rune Factory, and not Pixel Cross Rune Factory 5. Even though I think it could have done more and leaned more into the RPG side of things, Pixel Cross Rune Factory is an improvement over its predecessor in terms of content, and if you're looking for a puzzle game with a touch of Rune Factory, mostly 5, it will keep you busy for a very long time. I am enjoying it, I'm playing it every day and will continue to do so, but I am disappointed with the performance, which is not something I was prepared to say. The experience on PC would probably be much smoother, playing it with a mouse sounds nice as well, but it's the type of game I really like to play in handheld, and I don't have a Steam Deck, so Switch it is. I'll keep playing it on there, but I hope we get a whole performance patch or something. If you are undecided between this or Pixel Cross Story of Seasons, I have a review of that game, feel free to watch that, but I would say that the Story of Seasons one feels better, while the Rune Factory one has more content. If you want nonogram puzzles with an RPG twist and you don't mind that they're not connected to your favorite farming sims, again, PictoQuest is worth taking a look at. So that's it. Let me know what you think of Pixel Cross Rune Factory. If you're playing it or not, leave a like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next video.